Hello and welcome to What's Next Wall Street. I'm George Alfredas.
And I'm Dave Mathews, and this is a show about stocks, crypto, and the new decentralized financial Web3 world around us.
So I've got details on all the hot new trending products that everybody's talking about using and investing in. And today I'm getting into that whole Elon Musk, Jack Dorsey collabo. No, it's not a rap song. And we're going to try to figure out what the heck is going on with Netflix.
I'm ready to chill, but I'm going to talk with my friend Brad Templeton about road tripping in a Tesla. And Georgia thinks if you do that, you're tripping.
I get it. You're
See
tripping.
what I did there? Yeah, she hated a road trip.
So we've got Greg Krause, lead instructor at OptionsPlayers.com, as our expert. Greg charts a lot of these companies, and those chart indicators can show where a particular stock is headed so that it's easier to target investment potential. So Greg combines technical analysis with fundamental knowledge. Speaking of, Options Players just recently launched their first ever interactive live trading service for its lifers who have taken Greg's secret sauce course, and they have been killing it. Greg, are you here? Can you take a minute to talk about what you guys have been doing? I hear that you guys are like 24 for 27 on trades. That's insane. Are you here, Greg?
Yeah, can you hear me?
All right, talk to me about this. Talk to me about this live interactive. And wait, where are you? Are you in a cave? What's going on? Are you in a bunker?
He's in a bunker.
I'm in a theater in a cabin in Gatlinburg right now. My family's on vacation. So that's where I'm at.
All right, cool.
But yeah, so we've been for almost 3 weeks. We started on the 1st officially on April 1st. We went about 24 or 25 initially. I actually made all 25 of 25 profitable.
Well, of course you did.
Some people didn't win. It was one of those ones where I did just get a better deal than everybody else, and then some people didn't win it. So we count that as a loss. And then we've traded a few more as of yesterday. So we're about 35 actually, and we've got 32 right. No big losses. We haven't lost over 20% on any of them. And we've been averaging right at 15 to 16%. A trade is what the profit factor's been. So it's been pretty good. I think it's a little bit excessive. I don't think it's sustainable at that rate. I'm going to knock on wood right now. I hope it maintains that, but it is abnormal to actually go that good, but we're not going to hate on it. We've taken, I got 2 accounts, a really small one to prove that you could take $100 something and turn it into whatever. I think we started with $126 in that account, cash account. So its problem is you can't, your purchasing power has to restart every day with options. So we've taken it from 126. It's at $1,009 now.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
7 times your money. And then another one that I use is my account.
How much is in there? I'm just kidding.
There's a lot in there. All right. But I limit no more than $1,000 a trade on those. And we've made about 5,000 in 3 weeks on that.
That's awesome.
So about 5 times my risk, although that account's got more money in it. But so it's just showing them that they could do it. However, they just have to be patient. And a lot of people want these big gains that are 30% here, 80% here. And I basically showed them I'm only making 6 cents on this $100 trade, but I'm making 6 cents. But if I do that 30 times in a row, things start changing. And then we get lucky and we don't make 10 cents or 6 cents. We make 30 cents or $100, depending on what the cost is or how many contracts we have. And that's the whole point. Just look at risk management.
This is great because this is like Saturday Night Live had a skit, the first bank of change, and they said, "So you come in, you bring us $1, you need 10 nickels, or 20 nickels, you need 10 dimes, you need 4 quarters, but you're doing it by stacking gains." I love it, and all this is what we do at Options Players. Making you a more informed trader.
That's right. That's right. So you can email us at OptionsPlayers.com or hit us up on social media. What's Next Wall Street with your questions. We can also direct you to instructors like Greg and experts over at OptionsPlayers.com who dig into the trading fundamentals.
Now you can watch this episode on the OptionsPlayers.com YouTube channel or listen to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your funky podcasts.
Yes. So whether you're listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit that alert button so that you always know what's next on Wall Street. And don't forget to rate us 5 stars. Okay, Dave and I have joked about changing this part of the show to the Elon Musk Minute.
He's so boring.
Oh my gosh. But seriously, he is always in the news. It's like he and Kanye West. What the hell? So did you see what Elon did during that recent TED conference in Vancouver? He ripped the SEC officials, calling them bastards for bringing fraud charges against him over the tweets about taking Tesla private back in 2018.
For 420, which,
Yes.
by the way,
Oh, wait, what?
time that we're recording this show.
Yes. So Musk said he had secured funding to take the company private when he posted those tweets, but that the SEC pursued the active public investigation nonetheless. Now, Musk told the audience that he was forced to settle with the SEC and pay a $20 million fine because banks threatened to stop providing capital if he didn't, and that would have bankrupted Tesla like immediately.
Unbelievable. Now, Elon also admitted to the audience that he's not sure if the Twitter takeover bid can happen, calling the social media a de facto town square. However, Musk said that he does have a plan B if his current offer isn't accepted. Now, Musk offered to pay just over $54 a share in a deal worth about $43 billion with a B dollars. He asserted that the offer was his best and final proposal. Meanwhile, Twitter investor Mark Wasalia is suing Elon, claiming he failed to notify financial regulators about his purchase in the required time. Wasalia claims that because Musk failed to do so, prices were artificially deflated. Now, the move allegedly cost less wealthy shareholders while saving Musk around $143 million. After the news broke about Musk's purchase, shares rose more than 27%. And by the way, Elon's not Twitter's largest shareholder. The Vanguard Group is. Now, Vanguard owns 82.4 million shares, or 10.3% of the company. Meanwhile, Elon Musk and Twitter founder Jack Dorsey are united in pressuring Twitter's board to sell. In recent tweets, Dorsey said the board has consistently been the dysfunction of the company. Way to throw him under the bus after he left last month.
I know, right?
Musk painted the board as being out of touch with the company's best interest by noting board members' small holdings of Twitter stock.
Well, let me tell you something. If I worked for Twitter, I would be pissed. They were, conducting their little Zoom meetings from their comfort of their own homes, and here comes Elon with the takeover chaos. Now, although Elon decided against joining the board and the Ask Me Anything meeting with Twitter employees that was reportedly, I guess, canceled, clearly they are reading and responding to his tweets, like the one where he said the San Francisco headquarters should be turned into a homeless shelter since no one shows up anyway. And then, poof, Twitter employees headed back to work literally within days of that tweet. Listen, if I am a Twitter employee, I better not see you in the halls, Elon. You better stay out of the break room, bro, because there's going to be some furniture moving.
And now the Twitter board stated they have a poison pill to not allow a buyout if one person owns more than 15% of that stock without the board's approval. I guess they wanted their salaries too. Now this shows how out of touch the board is with the undervalued stock. After this news, Elon tweeted that he's going to pay the board nothing and save the company $3 million a year. Now, I was an owner pre-pandemic of Twitter shares, and I got out of it as soon as I could after a lackluster rebound when people were stuck at home with other social stocks rallying quickly. And all this happened with this Elon stuff after his team opened the largest manufacturing plant in the USA and threw a cyber rodeo party at the Gigafactory in Austin, Texas. How does Elon have time to do all this?
I know, right?
What an interesting man. Look at this, rolling
It
in
was
the
so
roadster.
cool. I was watching it like I was watching MTV Awards. I was like, what is this? Is this real? Is this real time? Is this really happening?
It was so cool. I had friends there that were Instagramming it. It looked like a rave meets Burning Man.
Yes.
Way to go, Elon. Now, this concludes the Elon Musk Twitter Tesla Minute.
Okay, I got to tell y'all about ShipStation. Thanks to Gen Z and millennials, Mama's got a brand new bag, literally. And thanks to these 20-somethings wanting the old designer bags I bought when I was in my 20s, it's kind of turned into a little lucrative side hustle, if you will. The problem is I'm not in my 20s anymore, okay? I've got kids in every decade, and they, along with my husband, my dog, the cat, take up every spare minute I have. That's why I use ShipStation. ShipStation handles all my shipping needs quickly, affordably, and painlessly, all from my phone, so I can ship while I'm waiting in car line, or while I'm sitting outside freezing at a lacrosse game, waiting for the next quarter to start, or waiting for a certain 8-year-old to finish their never-ending nighttime bath.
Well, I don't have those issues, like what's a car line? Thank goodness. But I'm always traveling, and ShipStation helps me save time by funneling all my orders into one simple interface, no matter where or what I'm selling. Save time by funneling all your orders into one interface, no matter where you're selling, and you can keep track of your own orders from Amazon, eBay, Etsy, or any sales channel. I can easily find the best shipping carrier and also access the same discounted rates, usually reserved for those Fortune 500 companies.
So listen, do yourself a favor. Save time, save money, and save your sanity.
Ship more in less time with ShipStation. Use our offer code WNWS to get a 60-day free trial. That's 2 months free, no hassle, and stress-free.
So just go to ShipStation.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, and type in WNWS ShipStation. Make ship happen. Okay, this is the part of the show where we get to hear from you. You can always hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street. Comment on our YouTube page, because we always reply, or email us at WNW@OptionsPlayers.com.
Our first email comes from Finner in Syracuse, that's in New York. He writes, there has been so much volatility in the markets lately. What's a good way to smooth out some of the noise and still catch major moves throughout the day?
I don't think he meant you to read it like that.
I'm Smooth Jazz Dave
okay,
on
right.
What's Next Wall Street,
I like
Georgia.
it.
Maybe
Okay.
you don't get the radio.
I didn't. Greg, you still here? Can you help us out with this question?
I can't help you with smooth jazz, but in the terms of the market, if you're day trading, and that's kind of what you asked throughout the day, I don't think the volatility is against you. I think it's for you, because if you're day trading, you want volatility, you want the market to go up and down, or you're just going to buy it and nothing's going to happen, right? You're just going to watch. It's like watching paint dry or slow as molasses, whatever you want to say. Okay, so one way if you're taking the volatility out, if you are day trading, okay, it's not a problem. Now, if you're trying to get rid of high volatility, because that raises the vega or the cost of options, and you're going to buy those, look at spreads. So if the volatility has an IV rank, if you don't know what that is, it means IV is really high, higher than its average. If you look at it comparatively to past IV ranks or implied volatility, then look at selling a credit spread that is basically, receiving credit instead of paying a debit. As the IV goes down, that will give you an edge. And if it's low, then you buy a debit spread. And that probably went over most people's heads there, but you should know that.
Oh, you mean because Dave and I were like,
What?
Yeah, that's probably why. But yeah, I mean, there's so much crazy going on. You don't really know what it is. We got election coming up. And probably the summer usually calms out. So in May to September, maybe we see a little bit of just nothing happening, and then you don't have that volatility.
Greg, speaking about volatility, there's a stock I'm thinking about, like, really avoiding, called ICBM. Are you tracking that one?
ICBM, as in it's like ballistic missiles. I'm trying to avoid all ballistic missiles. If that's what you're talking
that's a petty Putin joke. I'm sorry. Georgia, you're up.
All right, next we've got a question from Jason on the OptionsPlayers.com website. He asks, what are your technical analysis and thoughts on AMC for the next few months out? That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, we discussed AMC, I think, I don't know, a while back on one of the first episodes. I think it was like above $60 or something, and I called it the next blockbuster, and it's proven to be right. I don't even know what it's at now. It's probably $20 or less. AMC has purchased some other things that are outside of the movie or the entertainment industry. Whether what they're doing is changing their overall, I guess how would you say that? Their company's path in the future. But yeah, AMC, everybody says, oh, their movie theater's full. But when I look at every movie theater I ever pass, is empty. So, I mean, yes, certain times are going to be full, but you got to pack them and you got to do everything. It's just too much competition, too much technology out there. And then you got, all the virtual reality stuff coming out. It's just old tech to watch a movie. So they have to somehow update everything, and then they don't have the money. I do like the board, and the CEO has been a lot of integrity. He tells you what you're going to do. He's not taking your money and running away like some of the other companies that are meme stocks right now. So I do trust that their price is right. But if you go back about a year and you draw a trend line at the top, just connect the dots at the top, and connect the dots at the bottom, going back a year, you'll see a channel that goes from about $70 all the way down to now. And right now we're kind of in the middle of that channel. So if you're trying to trade it, I would wait until it gets to the top of the channel and trade it to the downside versus trying to buy it at the bottom of the channel, because the channel's going down. If you buy it here, it could still just follow the channel to the downside and you lose. So try to buy it or play some bearish move from the top of that channel and down. Now, if it breaks that channel, that's when you know, okay, I was wrong. I need to get out of my trade, and now it might shoot up. So then you go long if it breaks to the top of the channel.
Well, it was a bad week for entertainment because Netflix got scalped too, as they stated they lost subscribers for the first time in, well, forever.
Yeah. So listen, if you've got a question, we're going to try our best at least to answer it. So hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street in the comments section on our YouTube page, or you can email us at WNW@OptionsPlayers.com with your questions.
Hey, my buddy Brad Templeton has been active in the self-driving and EV car industry for a handful of years, but he's a luminary in the early computing space. See, Brad was the first employee on the team that created the first commercial spreadsheet software called VisiCalc in the early 80s. He created the first commercial web property, Clarinet, in 1989. And for a decade, he was the chairman of the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which fights for your rights online. And he's a creator of the rec.humor.funny Usenet group, which is like a message board before the web. And that's a story that you definitely need to Google about. I'm honored to have Brad on the show today to talk about electronic charging infrastructure and road tripping in an EV. Hey, Brad.
Hey, Dave. Good to be here.
Yeah, you wrote a column in Forbes about the Texas lottery for electric vehicle charging stations. Now, what is that and how did that go down?
Well, everyone's really curious about how we're going to charge all the electric cars. Most people want to see the world switch to electric cars from gasoline. So a while ago, you'll remember that Volkswagen, they cheated on the emissions tests.
Dieselgate.
And they got caught.
We love a good
Dieselgate, exactly.
Conspiracy.
And they
on
got
the show.
caught, and they had to pay penalties of billions of dollars, and some of those penalties were money given to states, and then the states were to use them to reduce emissions within their state. So Texas took about $21 million of that and said, we will give grants to people who are going to put in EV charging stations. These charging stations had to have the so-called standard plugs that are found not on Tesla, but on the other cars.
And that's J.1942 or something.
No, this is for fast charging,
Okay.
which is, there are two. The winner basically is one called CCS, and that's what everyone's using. The Nissan Leaf is the only car that's not using it. So the state of Texas said, we'll take applications for this, and we'll give you up to $150,000 per charger stall that you put in, up to $600,000 for the unit. And then they said, we'll just take the applications first come, first serve. Now, Tesla actually put in applications for grants under this. This is the first time they have said in the United States that they would make a charging station that can support that other plug, the CCS plug. Normally, Tesla has charging stations that are only for Teslas, and their network is very good. It's the best. 70% of the cars are Teslas, so it's very commonly used. But anyway, when it came down, the state gave the grants mainly to about all but one or two of them were to gas stations, traditional old school gas stations. A number of them went to a famous Texas chain called Buc-ee's, which is a super fancy gas station that people love there.
We love Buc-ee's in Texas, especially on this show. And when I go fill up my truck, I'll pull my boat up. So I'll try and fill two at once, and then I'll go inside and fill up my stomach on the barbecue as well.
Yeah, so it's a great gas station, but Tesla, which put in grants, they didn't get approved. But it was interesting to note that you could apply for 70% of the cost of your station for a grant. And almost everybody asked for the maximum that they allowed, the $150,000 per station. Buc-ee's puts a little bit less. But Tesla was willing to put stations in for 1/5 of that maximum. It just shows how efficient they are, how practiced they are. They've built 30,000 stalls around the world, so they're way ahead. But anyway, Texas really got a bad deal for itself because Tesla was willing to put in, well, what would have amounted to, maybe 4 times as many chargers, serving all the cars, but the gas stations won instead. I said some things which people who are fans of Buc-ee's didn't like, which is that even though it may be a fantastic place to fill up with gas, that's not necessarily what you want to fill up with electricity.
That's right. And these Buc-ee's stations, they're kind of like a mini Walmart. There's everything there from beef jerky to barbecue. And it's like a truck stop minus the trucks, so you don't have to deal with truckers. So this is going to be interesting how it plays off. Now, Brad, you did a road trip. I know you went to some national parks. You took your Tesla all over. What was it like? And that was, 3 years ago? That was pre-pandemic, I want to say, right?
No, I've done several. And the biggest one I did was last August. I went up to British Columbia, which is a couple days' drive from California. I'm Canadian, so I was allowed to cross over the border, and I thought that would be great because the borders were closed otherwise. And I thought that means I'll go in, I'll just have a great time, and there's not going to be any tourists there. And so it'll be great. But it wasn't at all. All the locals were out in force, and so it was hard to get hotel rooms and everything else you'd expect of crowds. But BC is still beautiful and wonderful in August and other months, so we had a great time. Now, we did have to go very far from the Tesla charging network. It's not as well built out in British Columbia. But I bought an adapter for my car that let it charge on the other stations, like the ones that will be at Buc-ee's, so that I could use all sorts of stations around the province. And so I totaled about 5,000 miles of driving on that road trip, and my bill for electricity was about $90.
That's unbelievable. Now, when you think about road tripping in an electric car, I know Georgia, our other host of the show, she had difficulty with it, and especially if you have kids in the car, right? You got to pull over and keep everybody happy. But I guess Tesla's done some things by putting Netflix on the screen. They've changed the orientation of the screen from from vertical video to horizontal video. Maybe they're thinking about like the future where self-driving cars will be like a full entertainment system on wheels, right?
Well, it's not a problem to get good entertainment in your car. And of course, most people already have it on their phone. But I think that's actually the wrong approach. I think that many people don't really understand until they do a trip like this or until they own an electric car, that the goal is for the car to be better in every way to the gasoline car. Now, around town, I charge in my home. And so my car charges at night and I'm asleep while it does it. So it takes no going out of my way and zero time. It's zero. It's better than a gas station. Gas stations, you actually have to drive to gas stations and spend time pumping gas and pay 4 times as much for the energy. But this is not true on a road trip. On a road trip, you're not at home, so you do have to make some compromises. And so the question is, can we get rid of those compromises? And my way to get rid of them is to always try and charge doing something else I was going to do anyway. And the most common thing for that is to have a meal. So you go out and you might need to charge by lunch. So you pick a lunch restaurant that is close to a charger, you plug in your car, you go have lunch, you get back and you're all full up. So again, it took no time out of your day. Now, we can't quite do that perfectly yet today, but I think we should be on the path towards trying to do that, either eating or shopping, and of course, at every hotel while you sleep.
That's right. And I've seen some early prototypes. I think Tesla had one of a robotic arm that would automatically plug in the cable. It looked like something out of a Marvel's movie.
That's for the future. And actually, I think that's something most people don't think about right now, which is we are going to make our cars drive themselves. Now, Tesla keeps promising, hey, we're going to have that any day now. They haven't been very good about that promise. But one thing that's much more possible than driving you around safely, or at least it's much easier than that, is for a car to crawl off in the middle of the night to a charging station where there's a human or a robot that plugs it in. And that would actually be the ideal car. This is a car that's just always full, and you don't even know how, right? You never fill it up, you never plug it in, you just get in, and it's always full of electricity. That would be the dream, better than gas, better than electricity today. And that dream is not that far away. And it means you don't have to build infrastructure at restaurants and driveways and all these other places if we can get to that. And I don't think we're that far away from it.
Hey, Brad, my teenage dream was having a silent car that I could drift away in the middle of the night, unbeknownst to my parents. So you might have some kids getting in trouble because they actually weren't in the car when the car drives away. Speaking of that, before we sign off, let's talk about this driverless Waymo car that got pulled over by San Francisco Police Department. The fact that pocket video cameras are everywhere these days to capture these moments makes this even more epic. So what we're looking at here is the cops coming after this Waymo.
Waymo would be annoyed at you because it says Cruise on that car.
Oh, it's a Cruise. Okay.
This is a car made by Cruise is a unit of General Motors.
General Motors, correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was a startup originally, started by the same guy who built Twitch. And he's doing this, and he sold it to General Motors several years ago. So, yeah, actually, it's funny. For a long time, when this field was getting going, everybody asked, how are the cops going to give it a ticket? I can't imagine that. And so it would be a reason to believe it's not going to happen. Actually, Cruise and Waymo and all the other companies have whole detailed procedure books about how police and fire and everyone else should interact with the vehicles. And that's actually pretty close to what happened here. It doesn't look that way from the video.
It looked like it's evading arrest.
It does. It does. And I think they need to improve that part of it. So the car was driving somehow without its lights on. And Cruise told me that this was because one of their human controllers, they have like people in a room, sort of in a service center, who are dealing with issues with the cars when they come up. And one of them turned the lights off. And I don't know any more about that. But so the lights were off, and so the police did need to pull it over. It's actually shouldn't ever be the case that police normally have to pull one of these over. They're not like human beings, right? If a human being makes a bad left turn, you give him a ticket to punish him, but it doesn't stop the next guy from making a bad left turn. If a robot makes a mistake, the company immediately fixes it, and the robot never makes that mistake again. So it's a very different way of thinking about how this works. So what happened was the car noticed the police. It stopped in front of them. And then the people in the remote operations center said, yep, you've definitely been stopped by the police. And that triggered the car to say, my job now is to find somewhere safe to pull over and go there. Now, the problem was that it already stopped. So this is where it was a stupid robot and not what a human being would do. And so what it did was, as the police walked up to it, it immediately went for this little spot, which was on the other side of the intersection, where it felt it could pull over better than where it had started. So to the cops on the beat cops, they were just walking up to it, and it decides to drive off like they've caught a criminal, but it was just following this programming. Once they got to it where it stopped, it had a phone number on the screen. The cop phoned the phone number, talked to the Cruise people. They turned the lights back on, and they were on their way. And the cops were nice and didn't write it a ticket.
Well, one guy came out of the back seat of the Cruiser with a billy club, and I was waiting for him to beat up the car. So funny. Now, the car should have had a Siri, Alexa, Google inside that says, stupid human, I don't need headlights. I've got LiDAR. I've got this. I've got that.
That is actually technically true, that the car can see very well in perfect darkness. It can't see things its cameras need to see, but the LiDAR works fine in perfect darkness. However, other cars wouldn't see you if your lights are off, so that's not a safe way to drive.
That's right. Well, cool, Brad. Well, hey, always good to catch up with you. Thanks for writing these stories that you're doing. How do people find you on the internet sphere?
Well, you can Google me. You'll find me in a lot of different ways. I have my own website and blog at templetons.com and ideas.forbrad.com. And I also have, I guess, robocars.com might be easier. That points into that. And as you said, I do write regularly on the Forbes site, so people can find me there.
You're a Web 1.0 master that's still a big underachiever. Well done.
Well, okay, I guess you're going to call me 1.0. And I do have a YouTube channel, too, so you can see some things there.
Oh, good. All right. Thank you, Brad Templeton. We'll catch up with you on our next global adventure now that travel is back to normal and there's no more pandemic or masks or anything.
I heard that somewhere. Basically, as someone said today, I'm not a doctor, but I'm not sure pandemics end just because we're tired of them.
Thank you, Brad.
This portion of the show is brought to you by BetterHelp Online Therapy. That's Better H-E-L-P, which is exactly what we need during these crazy times. So people don't always realize that physical symptoms like headaches, teeth grinding, and even digestive issues can be indicators of stress.
And let's not forget about doom scrolling, sleeping too little, sleeping too much, undereating and overeating.
Yeah, raise your hand if you experience one or more of those stressors, yes. So if I had 40 hours in a day, it still wouldn't be enough time to do all the things I need to do for my family, much less myself. And sometimes you just need a breather. So here is your reminder and my reminder to take care of yourself, do less, and maybe try some therapy.
BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. It's a lot more affordable than in-person therapy, and you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to.
BetterHelp.com wants to help you feel better. That's why they're offering you 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/WallStreet. That's BetterHelp.com/WallStreet. All right, so I am a radio chick. I've worked in radio my entire adult life. Even when Dave and I did a TV show together back when the commercialized internet was new, I still worked in radio. But when I'm at home, all I do is watch TV. Aren't all 80s kids like that? Are you like that? You don't watch TV?
I'm working on old cars.
Okay. Well, anyway, I can watch Netflix all day. I can tell you the top 10 shows on right now because I've watched them all. It's my guilty pleasure. So I'm completely perplexed by people who say they don't have or are canceling Netflix. You get so much for your money. I mean, I was paying like $500 a month for cable before I got Netflix, so I don't get it. But the stock tanked after the earnings call when the streaming giant reported its first quarterly loss of subscribers in more than a decade. So Netflix had expected to add over 2 million subscribers this year, but instead they lost a lot. So they lost 700,000 alone just when they decided to pull out of Russia, right? But they're losing subscribers everywhere. Experts say Bridgerton just isn't a priority right now. I would ask those experts to watch 2 episodes and see if they don't change their minds. It is so good. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know what that reference was, but thanks.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Seriously though, when people are paying more for food and gas and really everything, they're going to cut back on extras. Now, Netflix is trying to combat that by offering a cheaper option with commercials. They also want to cut down on password sharing, which makes sense. Another thorn for Netflix is all these rivals. Like you got Disney Plus, you got Apple TV, Hulu, Warner Brothers Discovery, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, Elon Musk had to add his 2 tweets. Get it?
Wait. 2 cents?
No, 2 tweets.
Oh, that's fine.
All right, so Elon is blaming the woke mind virus for making Netflix unwatchable. So not only does Elon want to control Twitter, does he also want to control Netflix? What's next? Is Euphoria too woke for you, Elon? Are you headed for HBO and a takeover with them next? What can we watch, Elon? Should we have reruns of Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best? I did too, but still, I mean, should we have that on every network? It always comes back to Elon. All right, so I'm off track here. But am I the only one irked by this? To be clear, I'm a bit of an Elon fan because what he's amassed is amazing and genius, but just because he's a gazillionaire genius doesn't mean he gets to control what people like and what they see. I mean, I think a lot of people agree with him because they're a fan. Do you agree with that a little bit?
I think he should run for president.
I think he should run for president. Guess what? He would win. Just my opinion. Back to Netflix. Because my boss is going to think I'm getting political. But I'm really not. Maybe I'm just jealous because he's rich and he can tell people whatever he can say whatever he wants and do whatever he wants. Or maybe I'm hangry or sleep deprived. Anyway, so I guess it really is always about Elon and me. So let's get back on track. So some analysts say Netflix was overvalued in the first place. Again, they obviously haven't seen Bridgerton or The Last Kingdom. Did you see The Last Kingdom?
No, but Ozark, I literally lived Ozark.
See? No, but did you watch it?
I watched it too.
Okay, good. Queen of the South?
Hard to follow, you know.
You? No, not you. You, the show on Netflix. You.
Oh.
Did you watch
I have a show on Netflix? Is it with you?
No,
I hope it's
Ginny
with you.
and George. Okay, Stranger. Okay, come on. You so-called experts, what do you do all day if you're not vegging out watching Outlander? Oops, I did it again. Speaking of, oops, I did it again. Did you see Britney Spears' documentary on Netflix?
Oh.
All right, back to the question at hand. Should we buy Netflix now or should we wait? Is there a rebound on the horizon? Greg, what do you say? And if you say it was overvalued and you don't watch Netflix and you don't know what Bridgerton is or Ginny and Georgia or Outlander, I might kill you. Greg, you there?
I know what Bridgerton is. I also watch Netflix. I sit there and day trade all day. Season 1 I liked better. But
yeah.
Season 2 is good. And now people are crying because the younger daughter wasn't in the book.
I know.
I got you. I keep up with the times.
Yeah, Greg.
Netflix is undervalued comparative to almost everything in the market.
Thank you.
Any analyst that shows any fundamental that way doesn't know how to do basic math, or it's just stupid. If we really look at it, and they're like, revenues were down, and that's what got it. But you just raised the price, but overall income is up. So I don't care what revenue is. If it costs me, if I got if I made $100, I sold this to you for $100, but it cost me 90, I made $10, right?
That's right.
Okay, that's what I care about. They sold it to you for they sold it to you for $98, but still made $10. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the issue. Now we really go back to, as an investor, what do you care about? You care about the return of your investment. And that, what we look at, is earnings per share. That's what the investor should be focused on more than the other stuff. At this price, Netflix earning per share is about $11 or 11 plus. That is a lot. And I know it's $220-ish right now, but 11 is a lot. To put that in perspective, Apple, which sits around 170, that everybody considers, the best thing on the planet, its earnings per share is only about 6.7, maybe 7. But if you get that, hey, Netflix is almost double at this price. And I know the price is a little bit higher, but it's not double. So really, when you do it, it's probably about a 30% cheaper price than what Apple's at. And then when you compared it to the market, which it's probably running about 4% or $4 earnings per share. I'm talking about the S&P 500, and then that's priced at 440-ish, 450-ish. So you divide that in half, it's really running out of a $2 earnings per share, versus Netflix is sitting at 11. And they're saying losing subscribers. First off, half subscribers are not in the United States of America. Let's just understand that. The rest are here. I think there's two things that Netflix has to do if they want to actually gain subscribers. They just have so many right now. Basically, everybody in what America would call civilized, because we don't really know much about other countries, but I promise you, from what we considered where we would be happy and comfortable, they have Netflix. So you have about 100 million households that have Netflix in America. When we really do that math, that's like almost everyone. That's 90% of it have access to it. Now, the problem is 30 million of those households are using someone else's password to Netflix. So
one or two of my devices might accidentally be logged into an ex-girlfriend's account.
Oh, maybe. You got to change that password.
So I think that's where Netflix really needs to get them in. But yes, they've increased price over time with inflation. And everybody that complains about, we need to pay people more money or this, well, guess what? Companies got to charge you more for it. And that's why Netflix is going up with the times. They've been pretty steady over the years, matching inflation. And now it's going to be $9.95 and like $15.99 or whatnot.
Yeah, they're talking about building a new plan that has ads, because everyone's gone that way. Look, Hulu, Paramount, even HBO, they're all doing ad plans.
But I'm not bothered by that. I mean, I could care less.
I'm not bothered by the ad in the beginning. I don't like the ad like right when I'm inside it or something.
Yes.
Don't put it there. But you can put it when I'm bored or whatnot. Just don't stick it in the middle of the action scenes like they always do. Like, here it goes, and we'll come back and Jerry Springer is going to tell you if it's his kid or whatnot. Don't put it there. Put it in the beginning or after you tell me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Netflix, plenty of room to run. Now, we haven't really talked about it. We go back to volatility. It is extremely, it's priced pretty crazy. There's some things you can do here. If you could purchase it and use covered calls on it, since IV is so high. So just go sell covered calls on it. If you have an IRA or something, look at it, talk to your financial advisor, because I don't know your situation. But you can basically buy covered calls right now at the current price and just get a credit back, probably $40 at the end of the year, a year long. So you can make 20% just doing nothing. It's almost free money if you understand options right now with Netflix. And we discussed this in my thing earlier today. And, we're usually day trading, but it was just so obvious that, hey, I can trade this 1 month out every month, a little bit at standard deviation, and collect $10 credit, which I'm buying a lot more than just $10. And at the end of the year, if the IV stays the same and it doesn't get above my standard deviation, I can basically make 80% off of Netflix and the price doesn't move. That's how crazy implied volatility is in right now. And even if it goes down, it would have to essentially go almost to zero for me not to make money, and it's not going to do that. So learn about covered calls or whatever you want to do, because it's right now the idea is absolutely bananas on Netflix, and it might stay that way.
So
Super
Greg,
cool.
riddle me this. I'm a buy and hold kind of guy because I got other stuff to do.
Same.
But I think they lost 700,000 plus people, just the Russia alone. So when they institute the no shared password rule, I bet 50% of those people that got it for free are going to buy service. So we don't know what that number is. And in fact, back in 1992, when I first got on the internet, it was an internet provider called Netcom, and they had what was called shell access. It was before the web. And when you logged on with your modem, like that, you got access to a shell account. And if you shared that account with someone, this is maybe in 1993, a year later, when they logged on to your account, it would immediately kick you off.
Yeah.
And Netflix hasn't instituted that yet. So you're going to have some angry friends. It's like, why'd you just kick me out of what show, Georgia?
Right, Bridgerton.
Why'd you just kick me out of Bridgerton?
Yeah. And Netflix allows you like 5 accounts or 5
Yes.
devices per account.
Yes.
You know, like for me, I have this little cell phone. It's got Netflix on it. My kids got my Netflix.
Yeah.
But then I have so many smart TVs now at my house, right? I got them all.
Yeah.
I want Netflix on all of them. They
That's
all
right.
have the
That's right.
button on the TV. And although I probably have like 5 TVs that got Netflix on it, I'll probably only watch it on 2. But how does that work? Because I got it on all of them. I don't really understand how I went above 5. So I think they got that. But how do they cut it off without cutting off my devices? I think that's their problem. And I know you're going to say, you know, they could track an IP or something like that. But we all know how to spoof that. So, but the average person might not. So, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think this is one for me because I'm a buy and hold guy. I think I'm going to buy it now because when they institute that password anti-sharing technology,
Yes.
whatever they go with, I think it's going to run up.
Yeah.
Hey, we'd like to thank lead instructor at Options Players, Greg Krause, for being here with us today.
Great
or
info.
being in the cabin like Ted Kaczynski.
Yes. Remember, if you've got questions, we can try to help you answer them. And we'd love to hear from you. Email us at WNWS@OptionsPlayers.com or hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street, or of course in the comments section on our YouTube page. We always reply. Stop it, you're not the cat.
I'm the Kermit. You can, of course, watch episodes of What's Next Wall Street on OptionsPlayers.com YouTube page or listen on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you hit subscribe and get that alert thing so you can get current training info as soon as it drops. I'm Dave Mathews.
And I'm Georgia Alfredas. See you next
this
time on
is
What's Next Wall Street. That's pretty good.